Tonight, we meet with a band from down around the Chattanooga ways. We talk with Ashley and the X's on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. I've got, well, say who you are and what you do in the band.
I'm Dan Walker. I play drums.
I'm Matt Shigakawa, and I am the guitar player.
And the other members, unfortunately, couldn't be with us this evening. Who are they?
Ashley is our singer, and she's fighting a sickness tonight. And Eric Parham is our bass player, and he also plays in another band and just got off the road doing some touring with them and spending time with family.
I was just making sure they knew that there is actually an Ashley. You guys don't pretend to be Ashley.
Well, sometimes Dan pretends to be Ashley.
What exactly is the music style of Ashley and the X's? How would you sum that up?
I would say we're a hard rock blues band.
With some jazz influence, maybe? Yeah.
You have been on a bit of hiatus for the last, how long?
The last 3 years.
Life, it happens, gets in the way of some things.
Yeah, marriages, divorces, you know,
but
all of that.
The band is getting fired up as you're coming off this hiatus. You've been working pretty hard to kind of redo your music.
Yeah, we've been hitting it hard since August of this year with practice and getting stoked and ready to do a reunion show in Chattanooga.
That is coming up. Yep. We're going to talk about the dates for your reunion show. We'll also talk about the music that you've been working on, because you didn't just dust off some old stuff. You've actually been considering some new material.
Yeah, we've got some new stuff in the works, and it's coming together pretty well. We'll
talk about where you are, progress on that project too, as we speak with Ashley and the X's tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. A little bit of rock, a little bit of blues, a little jazz, all thrown together, and you get Ashley and the X's. They're our guests tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. I've got Matt and Dan in with me this evening. A couple of other members that couldn't be here, unfortunately. I think we talked about Ashley's got a little bit of a infection thing going on.
Yeah, she's trying to rest up and get ready for the show. She didn't want to push herself too hard tonight.
Being a vocalist, you have to put extra care into what you don't think of it that way. I mean,
I play sick, so I'm not sure why she couldn't, but you know.
Well, having a guitar or a drum set, if it gets a little out of tune, you just kind of work on it a little bit. Right. It's good to go. Voice,
yeah.
A lot more care. You guys do backing vocals with her as well?
The two of us don't. But
yeah, we can't. Matt and I can't sing at all. We stay away from microphones. We probably shouldn't be in front
right now.
Probably shouldn't be in front of these microphones.
Yeah. No, our bass player Eric, he does a lot of background singing and harmonies with Ashley, and they sound great together.
How long has this band actually been a band?
I think we formed in 2009, maybe the latter part of 2008.
Not too long after I moved to Chattanooga, I was put in touch with Matt, and we pretty much just took off from there. We had a lot of chemistry together. And we played for years, 4 or 5 years. And then that's when we ended up taking our break.
How did you come across Ashley?
I was playing in another band in Chattanooga, and we were doing a lot of open mics just to meet other musicians in town. Eric and I were in a band together at that time, and we saw Ashley do open mic a cappella, and we were blown away by her voice. And we're like, yeah, if this band falls short, we're going to steal her. And it did, you know.
I was going to say, I think if you're already looking at what the next project might be,
it was a seed planted that I was, yeah.
Well, it worked out in the end. You guys all came together, and I'm curious as to how the name came to be.
A coin flip.
We threw a lot of names out there, and then it was really, I guess, kind of silly. Ashley happened to have ex-boyfriends that all had names of
except for mine.
Right? No, I think there was a Dan in there too. Okay. So it was like, hey, all of you guys, you know, I've had boyfriends with all of your names. So Ashley and the X's just kind of fell into place.
I wondered if there was something along those lines, or it had something to do with blowing kisses, or
well, you know, that's a better story. We might go with that one next time.
I'm also curious now as to what other names you might have come up with.
The Black Cat Sings.
That's a name that I actually liked to go by for a while, the Black Cat Sings, and it's actually formed into a song called The Black Cat Sings. And I'm kind of leaning towards that being our next album title too.
Well, there we go.
Well, if nothing else, you've got it in your back pocket. So whenever you guys hit the big time and you want to play secret shows, you've got another name.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, exactly.
Black Cat Sings.
That's planning ahead. How that works. You do have some songs that you had worked up before you went on hiatus that you were really out playing. In fact, you've kind of been reworking them a little bit. One of the songs that you have that we got from you, Lizzie.
Yeah.
Where does Lizzie come from?
It was an idea that I had. I wanted to write a song about Lizzie Borden, and just an interest of mine, you know, 1800 spinstress who got by with murder.
She did it.
We're still not really sure. I guess they don't know 100% if she was guilty. And it's just something I've always thought was very interesting. And I wanted, to kind of put that out there and be like, let's write a song about this.
It's surprising how the topic of that stays relevant. We had Christina Ricci, I think, did a series with it.
I think so.
Recently. It just kind of stays at the forefront. So even though it's a dated thing, it's not all that dated.
Right.
Still captivates people this day.
Yeah.
Did she do it?
It's their take on it. It's Ashley and the X's. It's Lizzie on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Talking tonight with Ashley and the X's on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. You're from around the Chattanooga area.
Yeah, right in Chattanooga.
How often do you play around there?
When we were playing there 3 years ago, we played maybe once a month. And like we mentioned earlier, we've been on a hiatus. So our next show is Friday, November 11th, and it's the first one since 2013.
Little excitement, little nervousness.
Oh, yeah.
We're both.
Yeah, we're really excited and a little nervous too at the same time, for sure. But it's really building up. Our fans back home in Chattanooga are really showing a lot of love and getting overly excited about it at times, and it makes me feel good about it.
The band came back together. I think we said you started practicing back in August.
Yeah. That's
when you first started really deciding that now's the time.
Right.
How do you come to that decision? How do you just go, all right, it's simmered long enough, let's go ahead and...
Well, that's a really good question. I'd like to know the answer to that because I tried to get the band together a couple times. So
I think it was just the right time. I played in another band in Chattanooga, the Ryan Oyer Band, and some people who were attending those shows would approach me after those gigs and say, hey, what's happening with Ashley and the X's? And people I didn't even really know. And so it kind of took me by surprise, like, oh, wow, people knew who we were. People really liked us. And so the more and more that happened, it was like, you know what, maybe I should contact everybody and see what could happen. When Dan tried to get us all back together, we were doing it without our bass player, Eric. We brought in somebody else. And while we've tried other members from time to time, it just never really works out. So it had to be the four of us, the original four, and the right time. And I think that's really what did it, is the four of us saying, all right, let's do this.
You talked about, and were playing at a different band at the time when you guys saw Ashley singing, and you were just like, there's something there.
Right.
Do you have that opinion whenever you guys are writing the material for the band? Do you look at it as this is the perfect thing for this, or just whatever you write?
Right. To this day, for sure. Yeah. Like if I'm at home and I'm writing a riff or jamming on a riff, I'm like, yeah, this is meant for Ashley and the X's. And then when we're all together, putting it together, and we hear Ashley sing, sometimes we just stop playing and look at her like, wow, she blows us away, even at practice. Like we're really, very fortunate to have somebody as good as she is.
Who handles all the songwriting?
We do it together. Ashley writes most of the lyrics, but I don't write Dan's drum parts. I don't write Eric's bass parts. We write our own parts and kind of formulate it together. Eric and I might have an idea. Ashley might have an idea that we bring to the table, but when it comes down to it, the four of us write everything.
When it comes time to take that into the studio, what you've written, does it change anything when it's time to actually record it, or do you capture that magic?
On the first album that we did, and the only album we did, we recorded it all live. There was a few overdubs for guitar solos or things like that, but yeah, we try to capture that live sound, for sure. So it doesn't really change. When we're writing it, we try to put all the production and all the dynamics into it then. So when we're playing it live, we give that live sound to our audience who is in front of us, or our audience who's listening to it on our CD or online. We want everything to be us and not a whole lot of production. You know what I mean?
When you captured that performance live in studio, was that magic coming across with Never?
Definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Sure. That was a pretty good, organic thing that was happening there,
Where's the background for Never come from?
How it happened musically, Dan actually just started playing that drum beat, and then Eric and I jumped in, we just looked at each other and just jumped in with our parts, and it happened very naturally and organically. And Ashley immediately was like grabbing her notebook and was like, I've got stuff for this. And she sat down, probably the quickest I've ever seen her write a song, maybe within a few minutes, and had the whole thing written out. And we played it, and it was like, yeah, there it is.
It's Never. It's Ashley and the X's.